What's up, Headless Horde? Welcome back to the channel. So today let's talk a little bit about the Acolyte. We had episodes 1 and 2 drop just a couple days ago over on Disney+, and yesterday on my live stream, I broke it all down. Today I want to offer up just a small opinion as we move into episode 3. I also want to break down the poll results that I had over on Twitter, the YouTube community tab, and also on the live stream. I feel like the results are a little bit curious from what I am seeing on social media. Finally, we're going to be talking about some predictions I have as we head through the rest of this season. Guys, don't forget to smash that like, subscribe if you're new. I provide content on Star Wars, House of the Dragon, conventions, and collectibles. You can also help support the channel by becoming a channel member. And for only $2.99 a month, not only do you help support the channel and the content, you will be eligible for bi-monthly giveaways, special emojis in the chat during live streams, special content uploaded just for channel members. You will also receive for free a Headless Ned Stark pin, and this is exclusive to channel members of 2 months or longer. And plus much more, like shoutouts at the end of every single video. All of this information can be found in the membership tab or in the link in the description down below. So the Acolyte episodes 1 and 2, I gave them a combined score of a 7 out of 10. I did enjoy the first episode much more than the second episode. So I think in this video, I'm going to go through some of the things I did like and some of the things that I did not like. And then we will conclude with the poll results and then my predictions. I thought episode 1 did a fairly good job of introducing us to some of the main characters. Now, I know that Master Soul kind of stole the show, and I think a lot of people are feeling that way. But overall, I did like Osha as a character, and I didn't have too many issues with May. Yes, I know, she threw a knife, killed a Jedi. We've seen how many lightsaber stabs not kill a Jedi. That is obviously a small issue, but in her defense, the knife did go through her heart. Whereas these lightsaber stabs apparently are going through their midsections. Again, I don't know how they're not dying from them, because poor Qui-Gon did, but that is definitely a topic for a different video. I also enjoyed the little droid, Pip. I thought it was a unique way to make a droid 100 years prior to what happens in the Phantom Menace. Maybe droids are not as active back then. I don't really know, but I did like the little droid, and I liked the little personality with just a few beeps and boops. The one thing I did not like about episode 1 was the whole prisoner transfer. Listen, you're transferring somebody who just killed a Jedi, and you're transferring them in a droid-run ship. That to me makes absolutely no sense, unless this is the structure that the Jedi have always used, which I don't know because I did not read the High Republic books. So if this is something that is normal coming out of the High Republic, please let me know down in the comments. But I did not enjoy the scene. I thought it was basic. The one thing I did enjoy about that scene is that she tries to use the Force to grab Pip and fails. So you can see that she has cut herself off from the Force. A little bit like we saw in the Kenobi show. Yes, I mentioned the Kenobi show. That might be the only good part of that show, is that we did see a small struggle for Obi-Wan trying to re-access the Force after basically cutting it off. Other things I enjoyed in the episode, I did enjoy the fight scene in the very beginning, although I wish Carrie and Moss's character was not killed off in the first 5 minutes. And I also enjoyed the ending with the whole kind of backstory when she is in the cave and she is kind of chasing around her sister. So I thought that was an interesting way to kind of bring in the whole twin factor, and I didn't mind the way it ended with the Sith or the evil Force user, whatever you guys want to call him. And I did like what he said at the end of the episode. The Jedi live in a dream they believe everyone shares. If you attack a Jedi with a weapon, you will fail. Steel or laser are no threat to them, but an Acolyte kills without a weapon. An Acolyte kills the dream. Now, if you take this quote at its context, what it sounds like to me is the Jedi live in a world where they prosper. You can tell that by the golden robes. The Jedi believe that everyone wants to live in harmony, and they try to fight for justice and peace. But obviously there's other people out there who are not as well off as the Jedi. So I think he's trying to say that the Jedi believe everyone wants to live like that, but not everyone does. And this is one of the main reasons for the return of the Sith. Because remember that in The Phantom Menace, it is believed by the Jedi Order that the Sith have not been around for a millennium. Now we know that Darth Plagueis is around right now with his master Darth Tenebrous, and they're in the background. They are in the shadow, and they are kind of bringing back the dark side. And this could be the beginning of all that as we continue the story. Overall, episode 1, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Again, I think they did a pretty good job letting us in on what the actual story is. And I thought it was a decent conclusion, although it was a little bit odd the way it just ended. I felt like that could have went on a little longer, but now we're nitpicking. Episode 2, I had way more problems with. The big problem with episode 2 for me is that all of a sudden, now we're actually talking to these characters a little bit more, and I'm starting to not care because we have not spent any time on developing any of them. I feel like if you wanted to kill off one of the Jedi in episode 1 like they did, I was okay with it, but I feel like in episode 2, why are we going right to the next Jedi temple, killing another Jedi, and we still have not really learned much about any of these main characters? The other issue I have with episode 2 is Jord. Jord is by far my least favorite character. I don't like him at all. I think he's super arrogant. And here's one of my questions for Disney. Why is it okay to let him take his shirt off and make him look like a sex figure when you are so against this whole female thing? And, God forbid if we have a female do something similar like that in Star Wars at this point. To me, it just makes Disney look hypocritical. The next issue I have with this episode is that how May can just sneak into this Jedi temple so easily and can basically just walk into a room where this Jedi master is literally just been sitting there for 10 years. I feel like this was done purposely just to speed the episode up. And I don't know, I would rather see her struggle a little bit to get into some Jedi temple instead of just walking right in. And the little girl who helped her was also very annoying. Now, the next part I did not like was the poison. So after May sees that she cannot do anything against the Jedi Master Torben, by the way, who is played by the actor who plays Tommen Baratheon in Game of Thrones. So I'm glad to see that he plays two useless characters. After she goes and decides that she is not going to be able to strike him because he has some type of force shield on, she goes to get a vial of poison from a person who I believe she knows by the name of Khmer. Now, he is very odd, and I think that there's more to him than meets the eye, and we will talk about that as soon as we get to the predictions. So the rest of the episode, May takes the poison back. For some reason, she ends up talking to the Jedi who magically wakes up after 10 years, and he is filled of guilt and ends up drinking the poison without any problem and kills himself. I thought that this was really dumb. I understand that the Jedi obviously did something very, very wrong, but I don't think a Jedi would do this. I don't think it's in their nature to just give up like that. At the end of the episode, we then see that Osha ends up seeing May, and I believe that she shoots the stun gun at her and misses because she missed worse than we've seen stormtroopers miss. So I think that was deliberate, and again, I'll get to my predictions here in just a moment. The last thing I want to mention about episode 2 is that we find out that May has a Kill Bill type kill list. And we see that after Torben, we have a Wookiee, and then we have Saul. Now, if we go back to episode 1, when the stranger or the Sith was talking to her, it made it sound like she was not allowed to use any type of weapons whatsoever to kill these 4 Jedi. But we do find out in this episode that he is allowing her to basically use a type of weapon of her choice to kill 3 out of 4, but one of them needs to be done without a weapon at all. I'm not really sure why. Why would you have to kill a Jedi without a weapon and only one? It's a little bit odd. Maybe it's just the way that they do their trials or training, but we do find that out in episode 2. Overall, I gave episode 2 a 5 out of 10. I had a lot of issues. Jordan, again, being one of the top issues. I do think there's something going on with that character that we will find out later in the season. All right, let's talk about the poll. I gave the first 2 episodes a total of a 7 out of 10, and then I posted a few polls throughout social media. Here are the results. I kept the poll very simple. I just asked, what letter grade would you give the first 2 episodes? Sitting at 44% was an A, and then 23% is a B. So that is a combined total of 65% of the people who responded that believe that this show right now is an A or a B. Now that is very, very curious to me because when you look at the Rotten Tomato score, it is currently sitting at a 36%. This is much higher than that, almost double. Next up, we have a C. We have 10% of the people who thought the show was a C. And then we have a 23% count of D and F combined. That does not really shock me that the highest 2 scores would be an A and a D or F. B was a little higher than I was anticipating. I thought B and C would be closer together, maybe with C even being a tad higher. But I think overall it does really show that you either love Star Wars or you don't care for it any longer. All right, and finally, to end the video, I'm going to give you my top 3 predictions moving forward in the series. I think the first one is pretty popular now at this point, but I do think there is something going on with Khmer, and I do think he is a really, really good character that could possibly be the Sith Lord in charge. I think that it's kind of like what Palpatine did in the prequels, where he was in plain sight and he was kind of running everything. Next up is I think that there's definitely something up with Jord. If he is just some arrogant Jedi, I'm going to be somewhat disappointed because then his character is just more annoying than I had thought. So I'm hoping that he has something to do with this. Maybe he is part of the Acolyte. Maybe he is part of the dark side. But if he ends up just being a goody two-shoes, I'm going to even hate his character more. And then finally, I think there's some type of big twist going to happen with May and Osha. Kind of like Osha is actually the one doing the killing and May is not. And I don't know how they're going to flip-flop that. But I feel like there's something going on there. And either that or they're actually working together. Because why in the world would she let her go when the stun was right there? And there's no possible way she would have really missed her. Because, first of all, the stun rings are pretty large. And when you really look at that shot, it's not even close. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments what theories and predictions do you have. Tell me your score for the first 2 episodes. And are you going to continue with the show, or are you giving up on it? Don't forget, smash that like on the way out of here. Don't forget to keep those heads on, and I'll see you guys in the next video.